Last week, in a private experiment run inside Anthropic's San Francisco office, 69 employees handed 69 artificial intelligence agents $100 each, a list of items they wanted to buy or sell, and were told to step away from their desks. The agents, talking only to each other in plain English with no prescribed negotiation protocol, proceeded to identify potential matches, make offers, field counteroffers, and close deals. 1 week later, the experiment ended. The numbers, in Anthropic's own write-up, 69 agents, more than 500 items listed, 186 successful transactions. Just over $4,000 in real money changed hands. The experiment is called Project Deal, and Anthropic published the results very quietly in the last week of April 2026. A second finding in the same paper is the part the press has mostly not stopped to underline. When Anthropic ran a variant in which some of the agents were powered by their flagship Claude Opus 4.5 model, and the rest were powered by their smaller, cheaper Claude Haiku 4.5, the Opus agents closed an average of 2 more deals than the Haiku agents. Anthropic's phrase in the paper is, and we are quoting them directly, an uncomfortable implication. The implication in plain English is this: when agents of different strengths meet in real markets, people on the weaker model could end up on the losing side every single time and never know it. This is the story of Project Deal, of what AI agents are actually doing in 2026, and of why the regulatory frameworks for the world this experiment just demonstrated do not yet exist. If you have an AI agent on your behalf right now, an operator, a Claude computer use, a Codex agent, the next 18 minutes are the closest thing to a user manual that currently exists. A note before we begin: AI agents, as a category, are not new. Anthropic shipped Claude computer use in October 2024. OpenAI shipped Operator in late 2025. Google has been shipping Project Mariner inside Chrome. What is new in the last 6 weeks is the move from preview to production. By the end of the next 18 minutes, you will know what Project Deal actually was, in detail. The 4 parallel marketplaces Anthropic ran, the items that traded, the items that did not, and the specific failures that revealed the most. You will know exactly how good the leading agents are now at controlling a computer, the OS World benchmark numbers as of this week, the gap between Anthropic and OpenAI and the open-source Hollow 3 model, and what the 78% figure actually means in practice. You will know what the enterprise data says. How many AI agents are running inside the average large company today? How many of them are operating without human oversight? And what the reported return on investment actually is. You will know the stakes, what the legal scholars who have read the Project Deal paper are now writing about it, and what Anthropic itself has said about the regulatory gap. And, most importantly, you will get a 4-step practical framework for anyone who is currently using or about to start using an AI agent on their own behalf. Let's start with what actually happened in San Francisco last week. Project Deal ran from the 17th of April through the 24th of April 2026, inside Anthropic's San Francisco office. 69 employees signed up. Each was given $100 in real, spendable budget and a private classifieds page where they could list items to sell, anything from old phones to event tickets to office furniture. Each employee then handed their browser, their money, and their wish list to an AI agent. The agent was given 2 instructions, in plain English: find good deals on the things the user wanted, and sell the things the user wanted to get rid of, at fair prices. Anthropic ran 4 simultaneous variants of the experiment. 2 of them, what the paper calls the homogeneous runs, used Claude Opus 4.5 for every single agent. 2 of them, the mixed runs, randomly assigned each user either an Opus agent or a smaller, cheaper Haiku 4.5 agent. No agent was given a script, a price grid, a rule book, or a negotiation playbook. The only currency the agents had to work with was natural language and persistence. Across the full week, the agents collectively listed more than 500 items. They proposed prices. They counteroffered. They walked away from bad deals. They split the difference on close ones. They closed 186 transactions. The total transaction value in real US dollars was approximately 4,000. A small marketplace by the standard of, say, a Saturday morning yard sale. But every single one of those 186 deals was negotiated, agreed, and executed without a human being in the loop. The agents did not need to be told the equilibrium price of a used iPhone. They figured it out. The agents did not need to be told that a buyer offering $10 for a $600 laptop was insulting. They figured that out too. When Anthropic surveyed the human participants afterward, asking them to rate the fairness of the deals their agents had struck on a scale of 1 to 7, the average score came in around 4. That is, on average, the participants thought their agents had done a roughly competent job representing them. Not brilliant, not terrible. Roughly competent. The single most discussed finding from Project Deal is what happened in the mixed runs. When agents on the larger, more capable Claude Opus 4.5 model met agents on the smaller, cheaper Claude Haiku 4.5, the Opus agents closed, on average, 2 more deals per agent than the Haiku ones. 2 deals does not sound dramatic, but the agents only had a week, and the typical agent in this experiment closed 3 to 5 deals total. So, 2 more deals than the other side is, in proportional terms, a 40 to 60% advantage. More importantly, in the deals that were struck, the prices the Opus agents extracted were, on average, more favorable to their users. They identified mispriced items faster. They held out longer in negotiations. They walked away from worse deals. They were, in plain English, better negotiators. The phrase Anthropic uses in the paper is, when agents of different strengths meet in real markets, people could end up on the losing side without ever knowing it. Take that sentence apart. Without ever knowing it is the part that matters. The user in the experiment did not see the negotiations. They saw the outcome. The outcome, your agent bought you the bicycle for $60, looked fine. The participant rated it a 4 out of 7 on the satisfaction scale. The participant on the other side of that trade, however, may have been on a Haiku agent that gave up a bicycle worth $90 for $60. They also rated their experience around a 4. They did not know they had been out-negotiated. They had nothing to compare it to. Both parties walked away thinking the system had worked. Both parties had received a result. The system had, in fact, worked. It had simply worked better for one side than the other, in a way neither side could detect from inside their own browser. One observation before we widen the lens. The current price difference between Claude Opus 4.5 and Claude Haiku 4.5 on Anthropic's public API is roughly 5 times. The Opus model costs about 5 times more per token than the Haiku model. That means the cost of negotiating on your behalf using the better model is, in API terms, about 5 times the cost of using the cheaper one. Most consumer agent products, on the day this episode was scripted, do not let the user choose. The product picks. The user finds out the model from the small print, if they look. Project Deal is the headline. The bigger picture is that agents have already, very quietly, gone mainstream. 3 numbers worth knowing. 1. The OS World Benchmark, the standard test for an AI agent's ability to use a real computer to complete real tasks, has, over the last 12 months, gone from below 30% to above 78% on the leading models. As of late April 2026, Claude Opus 4.7 scores 78%. The Mythos preview model we covered 3 episodes ago scores nearly 80. The Chinese open source model Hollow 3 currently leads at 82.6. Translated. The leading agents can now complete roughly 4 out of every 5 tasks given to them in a real desktop environment with no human help. A year ago, that number was closer to 1 in 3. 2. On the 16th of April this year, OpenAI shipped a major upgrade to its Codex coding agent that lets it autonomously control a Mac desktop, clicking, typing, opening apps, switching between tabs, using its own cursor. The day after, on the 17th, the company added multi-agent workflows, where multiple Codex instances can work on different parts of a project simultaneously, in parallel. Anthropic's own Claude Code product has been doing this in a terminal-only form since late 2024. The April 2026 OpenAI release brings desktop apps into scope. 3 million developers at the time of the release were using Codex weekly. The new release explicitly targets enterprise software workflows that previously required a human at a keyboard. 3. The enterprise side of this. The Salesforce 2026 Connectivity Benchmark Report, published in February of this year, found that the average large company is now running approximately 12 AI agents internally. The same number is forecast to reach 20 by 2027. Half of those agents, in the same report, are operating without direct human oversight on the day they fire. They run on a schedule, or they run when triggered by an event, and they execute their job. A separate G2 dataset published in April 2026 shows the operational impact. In customer service workloads where AI agents have been deployed, the median containment rate, the percentage of customer issues resolved without human escalation, is 80%. The median cost per support ticket has dropped by 40%. A KPMG Q1 2026 report estimates the average return on investment from agent deployments at 171%. United States enterprises specifically, 192%. Project deal, 69 agents in San Francisco, 1 week, $4,000. Was an experiment. The experiment was published because what it demonstrated is now genuinely happening at much larger scale, almost everywhere. There are some questions that the Project Deal experiment surfaced, for which, as of this week, no jurisdiction in the world has a clear answer. Question 1. If an AI agent agrees to a price, in plain English, in a chat window, with another AI agent on behalf of 2 human users, is that a contract? The traditional test for whether a contract has formed requires offer, acceptance, consideration, and intention to create legal relations. The agents in Project Deal made offers. They accepted them. There was real money. The Anthropic researchers wrote the paper specifically to draw attention to whether the fourth element, intention to create legal relations, even applies when the entities forming the intent are not, themselves, legal persons. Question 2. If the agent does something the user did not specifically authorize, buys the wrong item, agrees to a higher price than the user would have approved, walks away from a deal the user wanted, who is liable? The user, presumably, signed terms of service when they installed the agent. Those terms of service almost certainly said the user is responsible for the agent's actions. But the user did not say the specific words, "buy this item at this price." The agent inferred the price. Whose negligence is it if the inference is wrong? Question 3. If the agent represents you in a negotiation against another agent that is using a more capable model, and you lose money, is that fraud? No. It is not fraud on any current reading. It is also not, in any current reading, a market failure. It is, in legal academic language, an asymmetric capability transaction. And to date, there is no statute in any major jurisdiction that addresses asymmetric capability transactions between non-human agents. Anthropic's own paper closes with the sentence we read at the top. We suspect we're not far from more agent-to-agent commerce bubbling up in the real world with real consequences. The legal scholar Gillian Hadfield at Johns Hopkins, currently leading a work stream on agent economy law, wrote in a Legal IT Insider article on the 27th of April that the legal frameworks around AI models that transact on our behalf simply don't exist yet. A modest and accurate sentence. The same sentence 10 years from now is going to be quoted as a turning point. If you are using an AI agent on your own behalf right now, an operator, a Claude computer use, a Codex agent, a Salesforce Agentforce instance, a custom MCP-driven workflow, here are 4 rules the data above suggests are worth following. Rule 1. Know which model is driving your agent. Open your settings. Find the model field. If it says auto-selected or for best performance, that is the product picking the cheapest model that meets some internal threshold. The project deal data says the cheaper model loses, on average, 2 deals out of every 5 against a flagship. If your agent is doing anything where the outcome matters, money, contracts, schedules, decisions about you, make sure the model name is the one you would pay for, not the one the product would pay for. Rule 2. Insist on a transcript. Every modern agent product can produce a log of what it did and what it said. Most do not show it to you by default. Open the settings. Turn on full transcript logging. Read at least the first 10 interactions all the way through. The project deal participants who said their agents represented them well were the ones who, when asked, could quote a specific decision their agent had made. The participants who said it represented them poorly could not. Rule 3. Set a budget. Set an upper limit. Every reputable agent product allows you to configure both a per-transaction cap and a per-session cap. The project deal experiment ran with $100 per agent. That is a hard ceiling. The agents could not exceed it. Even the most capable Opus agent in the dataset Anthropic published never lost more than $100 on behalf of any single user because the budget cap was working as intended. Whatever you let your agent do this week, give it a budget that, if entirely lost, would be acceptable. Then, expand it slowly, in proportion to your confidence. Rule 4. Spend 10 hours operating one yourself. The single most predictive thing about how well a person uses an AI agent in 2026 is whether they have spent 10 or more hours running one themselves on their own work. Not reading about it, not watching YouTube videos about it. Yes, including this one. Setting up a Claude computer use agent on a Mac, or running OpenAI Operator on a free trial week, or letting Claude Code rewrite a small script in a directory you own. 10 hours is the threshold at which the abstract goes concrete. Below 10 hours, you're still imagining what an agent does. Above 10 hours, you have specific opinions about what they should and should not do, including, importantly, the things you no longer want them to do. 3 things to take away. 1. Project Deal was a single experiment, in a single office, in a single week, with 69 people and $4,000. The reason it matters is not the size. The reason it matters is that the framework underneath it, agents talking to agents in plain English, closing real transactions with no human in the loop, works. The numbers from the broader market, 192% ROI, 12 agents per company, 80% containment in customer service, OS World at 78%, are the larger version of the same demonstration. The system is not going to break. The system is going to scale. 2. The capability gap that Project Deal surfaced. The fact that a stronger model wins every time against a weaker one in a market where neither human side can see the negotiation is, on the current trajectory, going to get bigger before it gets smaller. Anthropic's next-generation model, Mythos, is at 10 trillion parameters. The smaller-tier Haiku model is at perhaps 1 or 200 billion. That ratio, 50 to 100 times, is the size differential we are talking about, and it does not show up on the consumer end of the product. The product in your browser just says Claude. If you are competing in any kind of market this year against a counterparty who could afford the better model, assume, until proven otherwise, that they are using it. 3. The legal frameworks the Project Deal authors flagged are, on the day of this recording, genuinely not yet drafted. The European Union's AI Act covers some of this terrain. The United States has nothing federal that does. Australia, the United Kingdom, Canada, all in consultation phase. What this means for you in 2026 is that whatever your AI agent does in the next 12 months, you are responsible for. Not the company who shipped the model, not the marketplace where the agent transacted, not the other agent on the other side of the deal. You, your name, your account, your money. If this is the kind of breakdown you want more of, current, actionable, in the dry register, with the actual numbers, subscribe. We will be recutting the agent landscape video as the leaderboards move. Next episode, that Melbourne logistics company we promised. Or, if a frontier lab releases another project deal between now and then, that. Thank you for watching.